Have you ever felt completely blindsided by someone's subtle digs?
Oh, definitely.
Or maybe you found yourself agreeing to something you absolutely didn't want to do, only to feel that sort of slow burn of resentment simmer later.
Yeah.
Communication is just so central to how we interact, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's rarely straightforward.
Indeed. It's a really complex dance, And navigating it well can feel like walking a tightrope sometimes. That's why in this deep dive, we're looking beyond just definitions. We want to unearth some of the hidden drivers behind communication styles and maybe reveal some surprising patterns that might be subtly sabotaging your relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Our mission today is really to equip you with clear insights and, importantly, actionable strategies. We want to empower you to foster healthier, more direct interactions.
So you can express your needs confidently.
Right, and manage those challenging dynamics more effectively.
Right.
We've pulled from a really great stack of sources: health guidelines, social skills forums, all sorts.
A good mix.
All to give you a really comprehensive picture. So we'll get right into it.
Okay.
So let's start with the cornerstone. What exactly is assertive communication?
Fundamentally, it's a way of interacting that respects, well, both your rights and the rights of others.
Okay.
The goal is getting your needs met, sure, but also promoting respectful, healthy relationships. It's about being confident, expressing yourself without being, overbearing or demanding.
That's such a crucial distinction, isn't it? I think a lot of people confuse assertiveness with aggression.
They really do. They worry that speaking up will push people away.
Yeah.
But genuine assertiveness, the kind rooted in self-respect, it often deepens trust because it removes the guesswork, the hidden agendas that can really plague relationships.
Oh.
And to really grasp its power, it helps to compare it with the other styles. Think of it like a spectrum.
Okay, a spectrum. So on one end, you have passive communication.
Right.
This is where others' needs usually get prioritized over your own. Someone passive might speak softly, avoid eye contact.
Maybe agree even when they don't really feel that way.
Exactly. Often because they fear displeasing someone or maybe being rejected. They tend not to express their own needs, which, can leave them feeling taken advantage of.
Then the direct opposite. Aggressive communication.
Right.
Here, it's all about their needs.
Yeah.
Aggressive communicators, they tend to interrupt, speak loudly, maybe use criticism.
Yeah, or intimidation. They might attack or just ignore other people's opinions to kind of assert their own dominance.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's the really tricky one, sort of caught in the middle, passive-aggressive communication.
Yes, the subtle stuff.
It is subtle, and neither person's needs get met directly here. It's this indirect expression of anger, negativity, often leading to that hidden resentment we talked about.
So they avoid direct confrontation.
Yes, masking what's really antisocial behavior, essentially. And an interesting strategy, if you can call it that, because it almost guarantees nobody really gets what they need.
Right. It sounds exhausting for everyone involved.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's what makes assertive communication stand out. It's the sweet spot.
Okay.
Where your needs are treated as equal to others. It involves speaking openly, using a conversational tone, making good eye contact.
And being willing to compromise?
Crucially, yes. Willing to compromise. The fundamental difference is that assertive communication is respectful, appropriate, honest, and direct. It's not about winning or losing.
It's about mutual respect.
Okay.
Problem solving.
Precisely.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Like, what are the core principles, the practical tools for being more assertive?
Well, at its heart, asserting yourself means standing up for what you feel, what you believe, recognizing your own inherent rights as an individual.
Okay.
And this is crucial, acknowledging and respecting the rights of others, too. This includes your right to your own values, beliefs, emotions, and the right to express yourself.
It's built on that idea of it's okay to be me, and also it's okay for you to be you.
Exactly. When you understand your own rights, you naturally get that others have those same rights, which means genuinely respecting their values, treating them how they wish to be treated.
Really listening to understand their perspective.
Yes, truly listening. It's about finding that equitable balance where everyone's voice actually feels valued.
Okay, so practically speaking, what techniques can help? I hear a lot about I statements.
Ah, yes. I statements are a total game changer. They really are.
How so?
They shift the focus onto your feelings in a specific situation, and that really helps reduce blame and defensiveness in the listener.
Right, instead of saying, you always make me angry, which just puts someone on the defensive immediately.
Exactly. You try something like, I feel disrespected when you show up late without calling. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah, it's much less accusatory. It's about my feeling, not your action being inherently bad.
Precisely. And building on that, there's the XYZ formula. It's incredibly powerful.
XYZ. Okay, break that down.
It's a structured approach, surprisingly effective. It goes, I feel X, your emotion, when you do Y, the specific behavior, in situation Z. And I would like what you want.
Okay, I feel X when you do Y in situation Z, and I would like. Can you give an example?
Sure. Like, I feel disrespected when you're on your phone at night and I'm trying to sleep. I would like you to text instead of talking after 10 p.m.
Oh, that's super clear. Very specific.
Or how about this one? I feel uncomfortable when you bring someone home for the night and you don't talk with me about it first. I would like to know your plans ahead of time so I can make other plans if I choose.
Wow, yeah. Direct. Avoids any mind reading. And maybe one for work.
Okay. I feel anxious when we don't discuss the progress on my research in our weekly meetings. I'd like us to reserve some time each week to discuss it.
The strength there is just the clarity, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It clearly states your needs, no guessing games for the other person, and it keeps the conversation focused on the present.
Right. Avoiding those really unhelpful phrases like, you always or you never.
Exactly. Which just escalate things.
And what about like nonverbal stuff? Body language?
Oh, hugely important.
Yeah.
Often unspoken, but it's a massive part of assertive communication. Speaking calmly, standing or sitting up straight.
Making good eye contact, but not like glaring.
Right, not glaring. These simple cues tell people you're confident, you're grounded, even before you say a word.
So in terms of just everyday life, where does assertiveness show up?
Everywhere, really. It's about being able to express negative emotions constructively. Standing up for your opinions without fearing disagreement.
Making reasonable requests, like asking someone to hold a door.
Yes, exactly. Which is very different from asking them to carry your suitcase for you.
Right. Reasonable requests. And also politely refusing unreasonable requests.
And graciously accepting compliments and feedback, too. That's part of it.
And here's an idea that really struck me from the sources. While you can't always choose the situations you're in or even your initial feelings,
You can always choose how you respond.
yes, your behavior is 100% in your control. That's actually quite profound, isn't it?
It is. It really puts the power back in your hands.
Okay, so that power of choice is immense when you're being assertive. But what happens when you're dealing with someone who isn't choosing directness?
Yes. That brings us to the, let's say, elusive world of passive aggression.
Right. What exactly is it and why does it happen?
Well, when we dig into it, passive aggression is essentially an indirect approach to expressing anger and negativity,
Okay.
often through things like inaction, moodiness, or just a general lack of cooperation.
And the person doing it, do they even know they're doing it?
Sometimes not, or they might deny it if you call them on it. You know, the classic, everything is fine, I'm not angry.
Right, when clearly something is wrong. It seems like a common coping mechanism for people who feel unable or maybe unwilling to express anger directly.
Exactly. In relationships, you might see it as the silent treatment.
Oh, yeah. Or that loud sighing and muttering meant to get attention.
Or agreeing to help with a chore, like doing dishes, but then going so incredibly slow that it becomes inconvenient, almost pointless.
Ugh, yeah. And in the workplace.
Oh, it can look like willfully withholding information, maybe about an office party, an important deadline.
Or conveniently forgetting tasks.
Yes, or giving really vague instructions. And then there are those classic backhanded compliments.
Like, congrats on the promotion. Wow, I didn't expect you to get it.
Exactly that. You can almost feel the tension in that comment, can't you?
Totally. It leaves you guessing, did they just insult me or am I reading too much into it?
That ambiguity is key. Or those two-faced comments, maybe in a meeting like, well, our latest campaign underperformed because someone spent more time ordering coffee than focusing on promotion.
Ouch. A clear dig, but indirect, no name mentioned.
Precisely. And if this kind of thing isn't addressed, passive aggression can escalate. It can turn into stonewalling, even gaslighting.
Which are forms of emotional abuse, really.
They are. So where does this come from? What are the roots?
Yeah, why do people adopt this style?
Often, we find influences from childhood. If someone was, say, taught to bottle up anger, or maybe they witnessed really violent anger.
They might start to believe anger itself is just bad or dangerous.
Exactly. Or that it leads to terrible outcomes. And this can lead to confusing feelings with facts later in life.
How do you mean?
Well, for instance, if a child was constantly told they were unattractive, then as an adult, a genuine compliment might be perceived as a lie or condescending.
Because they believe that negative childhood message is an inherent fact about them.
Right. Their feeling becomes the fact in their mind. It's also really fascinating to look at cultural conditioning.
How so?
Particularly in societies like the U.S., we often reward outward optimism, cheerfulness.
Yeah, put on a happy face.
Exactly. While emotions like anger, sadness, or fear are often kind of denigrated, think about the phrase, big girls and boys don't cry.
Right. We see people who act unemotionally get rewarded, and those who express emotions inappropriately, as they say, get put down.
This cultural bias can really lead us to cut ourselves off from a whole spectrum of natural human emotions.
And when we bottle up things like anger, fear, or sadness, does that affect positive emotions too?
It often does. It can actually lessen our ability to feel positive emotions like love and joy. It's almost like turning down the volume on the entire emotional spectrum.
So we become disconnected from our true feelings and communicate only what we think we should feel.
Pretty much. Other underlying factors can include just a general fear of feelings, maybe a fear of rejection.
Especially in people with insecure attachment styles.
Yes. Low self-esteem is another big one. Or even certain personality disorders. Vulnerable narcissists, for instance, might resort to passive-aggressive stuff when criticized because direct confrontation is too threatening for them.
Okay, so the impact of all this, it sounds pretty damaging.
It's profound. While it might seem less severe than overt aggression, passive aggression can deeply erode relationships. It causes a loss of trust.
Creates toxic environments.
Absolutely. And it's just exhausting for the recipient. They often feel like they're constantly walking on eggshells trying to figure out what they did wrong this time.
It's like a subtle form of control that just drains everyone.
Exactly.
So, okay, if you're on the receiving end of this, how do you navigate it? How do you avoid getting dragged into that same cycle?
Right. First and foremost, and this is critical, understand it's not about you.
Okay, say that again.
It is not about you. You did nothing wrong. You don't deserve the poor treatment. The behavior stems from the other person's issues, their background, fears, insecurities, whatever it is.
Internalizing that must be the first step for your own well-being.
It really is. Once you've got that, the next step is to recognize and plan. Learn to identify patterns, triggers.
Including nonverbal cues, like that rigid hug you mentioned?
Exactly. Or a clenched jaw, folded arms. These are often subtle clues that signal hidden anger, or at least discomfort.
And then develop a plan for managing your own reactions in the moment.
Yes, your reactions. Tune into your emotions. Do your thoughts start racing? Do you feel tension in your body?
And resist the urge to mirror their behavior, like giving them the silent treatment back.
Definitely resist that urge. Have calming techniques ready. Deep breathing, maybe a brief walk, even a sensory thing like savoring the smell of coffee.
The less you react emotionally, the less control they have over you.
Precisely. Then, when you feel ready for direct engagement, setting boundaries is crucial. It's key to breaking the cycle.
And these are often subtle moments, right? Like just pausing before you respond to something that feels like a boundary violation.
Exactly. When you do decide to open the conversation, choose a good time and place. Private, distraction-free.
And how do you start?
You could lead with soft curiosity. Something like, you seem quieter than usual. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here to listen.
Okay, gentle approach. Or if the behavior is more obvious and ongoing.
Then you might need to be more direct, using those I statements we talked about. I feel confused and uncertain how to respond when you ignore me. What can we do to address this issue?
The key is reassuring them that they can express feelings safely, even if they're used to hiding them.
Yes, creating that safety is important. But also be prepared for denial.
Ah, right, the I just forgot or everything's fine.
Exactly. But even if they deny it, your directness signals that you see their hidden anger. You're not playing the game anymore.
And during the discussion itself?
Practice active listening, empathy. Try to understand where they might be coming from, even if you don't excuse the behavior. Avoid accusatory remarks or labeling them passive-aggressive.
Because that just makes them defensive, shuts down the conversation.
Right, and if you hit a wall, if it's going nowhere, it's okay to suggest returning to it later. Maybe we should talk about this again tomorrow when we're both calmer.
Okay. And in terms of seeking actual change or just protecting yourself?
You can try to brainstorm solutions together. Maybe set some ground rules for difficult conversations, like no shouting or no accusations.
What about humor?
Humor can sometimes help, yeah, but carefully, not teasing. It can sometimes create a bit of intimacy, reduce tension, make it easier to talk about tough stuff.
But most importantly, know your limits.
Absolutely crucial. It is not your job to fix the other person. If their behavior doesn't change despite your efforts, you need to establish clear communication boundaries.
With specific expectations and consequences.
Yes, and recognize that consistent passive aggression can be a form of emotional abuse. You have to prioritize your well-being. Sometimes that means reevaluating the relationship entirely. Your peace of mind is paramount.
That's a tough but important point. What about specifically at work, dealing with a passive-aggressive boss or colleague?
Yeah, that's tricky. Some specific strategies there. Minimize interactions if you can. Nurture supportive connections with other colleagues.
Ask direct, clarifying questions if you're uncertain about tasks to sort of bypass their attempts to keep you guessing.
Exactly. Get things in writing. Document interactions, print emails, save DMs, keep a record.
So you have proof if you need to report abusive behavior to HR.
Precisely. Remember, their behavior isn't about you personally. You can't force them to change, but you absolutely can control how you react and protect your own peace.
This feels like a good place to bring in another really powerful tool. Emotional intelligence.
Ah, yes.
It seems like the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and influence emotions, both in yourself and others, would directly help here.
It's fundamental, really, especially for managing aggressive and perhaps even more so, passive-aggressive behaviors.
So emotional intelligence breaks down into what, 5 key components?
That's right. First is self-awareness, being tuned into your own emotions. Recognizing those early signs of frustration, like your heart rate increasing or clenching your fists.
So you can take proactive steps before you just react.
Exactly, before emotions escalate and just dictate your response.
Okay, what's next?
Self-regulation. This is the ability to control impulses. It lets you pause, assess the situation, and choose a thoughtful response instead of just reacting.
So instead of that angry outburst when someone criticizes you,
you might pause, listen calmly, and then respond thoughtfully. It's about creating that vital space between the trigger and your reaction.
Makes sense. Number 3.
Empathy. Understanding others' feelings. This helps you respond with compassion, patience, which can de-escalate conflict and foster constructive communication.
So if you recognize someone might be acting out of their own struggles or fears,
you're much less likely to react with hostility yourself.
Right.
You're more likely to respond with understanding, even if you still need to set a boundary.
Got it. 4th.
Social skills, particularly conflict resolution. Using EI here means navigating difficult discussions calmly, collaboratively finding solutions that work for everyone without resorting to aggression.
Like using those I statements we discussed. Expressing your feelings without blaming.
Perfect example. That's EI in action.
And the last one.
Better emotional expression. This is the capacity to express your feelings calmly and assertively. It prevents that buildup of resentment.
The resentment that often fuels aggressive or passive-aggressive outbursts later.
Exactly. It literally creates the space needed for more honest and respectful conversations to even begin.
And the great news here is that practicing techniques we've already talked about, like mindfulness, deep breathing, active listening, using I statements.
They all directly develop these essential emotional intelligence skills.
It's all connected, like a virtuous cycle of growth and better interaction.
Yeah, it really is.
So ultimately, this path to personal growth, to becoming more assertive, it's an ongoing journey, isn't it?
Definitely. Assertiveness isn't some innate trait people are just born with. It's a learned skill, developed, adaptable to different situations.
So if you feel like you've been maybe too passive or perhaps too aggressive, you absolutely can change.
Absolutely. And many people already show assertiveness in certain areas of their lives. Maybe you're fine speaking up if a cashier gives you the wrong change.
But find it much harder if your food is cold at a nice restaurant.
Exactly. The trick is to recognize those areas where you are assertive. Identify the skills you're using there, and then consciously try to apply them to other challenges where you might usually hold back.
A good starting point might be using some self-assessment questions. There are lots out there.
Yeah, as a benchmark for reflection. Ask yourself things like, do I genuinely want to change my behavior? Do I believe in myself enough to try? Am I willing to set reasonable goals and take reasonable risks?
If the answer is yes, you're already on your way.
You are. Building assertiveness takes time, though.
Yeah.
Effort. Regular practice.
Role-playing scenarios. Reflecting on real interactions.
Both are great. Role-playing with a trusted friend, or just thinking back on a conversation, what went well, what could I try differently next time? It's a continuous process of growth, but every small step builds confidence.
And just to tie it all together, let's revisit that incredibly powerful idea we touched on earlier.
The power of choice.
Yeah. While we can't always control external events, we always have the power to choose our response. Our behavior is 100% in our control.
That realization is it's a cornerstone of becoming more assertive and emotionally intelligent. It really is.
Yeah.
It's about consciously choosing not to give others power over your emotions and reactions.
It takes practice, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To really embody that, to learn not to value external validation so much, especially from people who might not have your best interests at heart.
It does. Knowing your own value, your own worth, that's the true key to unlocking that freedom.
Well, we've certainly unpacked a lot today. The nuances of assertive communication, passive aggression, their roots, and importantly, tangible ways to respond and grow. Remember, cultivating assertive communication is fundamentally about respecting yourself and others, fostering genuine connection, and navigating conflict with clarity and confidence.
So as you go about your day, maybe consider this. When you're faced with a challenging interaction, what's one small assertive step you could take?
Just one small step to honor your own needs while still extending respect to the other person. How might that single shift change not just the conversation, but also your own sense of control and your overall well-being? Something to think about.